What's up guys, my name is Jellycook5 and welcome to the Chelsea versus West Ham preview. Before we get into this video, it would be much appreciated if you haven't already to like this video. Please subscribe, we're on the road to 1,000 as we currently speak and it means all with your support. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. All my social link down below so you can keep up to date with all the things going on with the channel. Chelsea versus West Ham then. Tomorrow kicks off 2 o'clock at Stamford Bridge, a massive game for Chelsea in my opinion. Not too much in terms of West Ham's perspective. Obviously they haven't really got much to play for, especially with David Moyes probably leaving at the end of the season as they are looking to sign a new manager. Not too bad in terms of our form against West Ham at home, in all honesty. West Ham have been going through a little bit of a rut at the moment, but we'll talk about that further on in the video. In terms of the game that Chelsea have on hand, we've put a lot of pressure on Man United, to be honest. They don't play till Monday, so I feel like in being able to kind of the race for 6 in some aspects, I feel like we have time to be able to put the pressure on United. Them not being in best of form, also Crystal Palace of having a few decent results, but it'll be interesting to see if they are able to take 3 points off of them and make troubles worse for Man United. In terms of the previous meeting that we did against West Ham last year in August, it wasn't the best of our kind of games itself. We went 1-0 down. Obviously, Carney Chukwuemeka got his first goal for Chelsea, but lately he's literally got injured straight away, and it just fell apart from there. Didn't take our chances. That's been the story of our season this year. Unfortunately, losing out 3-1 in the end, and it was very embarrassing, that has to be said. Obviously, our stadium at the time, obviously being at the London Stadium, it hasn't been the best of form for ourselves. We've never really performed there, so it would be nice to be able to get revenge on them and hopefully pick up all 3 points at the Bridge. As I mentioned, West Ham haven't had the best of form recently. This is the last 6 that they've played, and they've only won 1 game, and that was against Wolves, and to be honest, that was a very dodgy VAR call. So when you actually look at their form, it's not looking good. Also, I haven't included their Europa League form. Obviously, they got knocked out against Bayer Leverkusen, but yeah, they've not really been the best. Obviously, they got a draw against Liverpool. They got absolutely battered against Palace, lost against Fulham, drew against Tottenham, and completely threw away that kind of lead against Newcastle. So in terms of form, they're not looking good, and I really would say they're there for the takings. West Ham are going to sit 10 men behind the ball. They're going to want a point at the end of the day. They've got nothing to play for. Yes, they would like a free because it's a London derby at the end of the day, but in terms of their perspectives heading forward for the game, I don't think we're going to see a lot from West Ham, and if basing it off the form that they've got at the moment, I think that kind of solidifies my thinking towards that, in all honesty. But yeah, they've not been doing that well. West Ham have had a poor season, and I think that's the reason for why it's come to an end for David Moyes, in all honesty. He's been very good for them, very good, and they've been slated at times. Obviously, he's been appointed twice during his tenure at West Ham, but it's one of those, I feel like they have to respect of what he's done, but for now, I feel like he's kind of past it, and yeah, it's fair enough that they are looking to be able to go for a new manager. So yes, he would like to end things on a high. Yes, he would like 3 points at Stamford Bridge in some aspect, but I just don't see it with the previous games that they have played. Obviously, I mentioned that the previous head-to-head wasn't exactly well for ourselves, don't get me wrong. This is our last 5 that we've played against West Ham. 1-2, drawn 1 and lost 2, so it's fairly even. In terms of the head-to-head overall, we've actually won 54 games, lost 44 and drawn 23. So yeah, it's been a very kind of mixed bag in terms of being able to play West Ham United. I feel like at home we've done very well against them. They picked up a win, I think, last in 2019 at our place. So it's one of those. I feel like we've got the advantage, yes. We've obviously going to be very tired having to play Thursday and Sunday, but hopefully they are up for it, knowing that there still is a lot to play for, and hopefully they can back the manager, being Pochettino, in terms of being able to see him out for next season. Also, I feel the kind of same as many Chelsea fans. I would like him out in some aspects, but there is a part of me that I feel if we were to sack him, that we will be in the exact same situation as we have been in many seasons, and I feel like it's time to build on something, and if we were to give him next season, if it were to fail, then we know what to do. But yeah, in terms of head-to-head against West Ham, it's fairly even. Hopefully we can change that, and hopefully we can get a nice victory against the Hammers. In terms of my lineup to be able to face West Ham, I've gone for exactly the same of what previously played against Spurs on Sunday. Pochettino has played a 4-2-3-1, and it's kind of helped him out in his favour, to be honest. It seems to be the formation that he's been able to stick with. Obviously, we don't have as much choice in terms of being able to go forward in terms of what we actually have on the pitch. We've had so many injuries. I still think that we're sitting at the 14, but this is the lineup. I'll currently speak about the injuries a little bit later. Petrovic in goal, Badiashile and Gilchrist as centre-backs, Cucurella on the left, Chalobah on the right, Gallagher and Caicedo in the middle with Mudryk, Palmer and Madueke as the midfielders, Palmer tipping in the middle with Jackson up top. We saw a lot work on Thursday, in honesty, and I was very proud of the team. The mentality and everything towards it was absolutely phenomenal. We have lacked so much in so many games this year, and it seems to be, I don't know what it was, but we just seemed so together on Thursday, knowing that we have nothing else to call on apart from these players on the pitch. They knew they needed to put in a shift, and that's exactly what we need for Sunday. Obviously, we can have a lot of tired legs, and but at the end of the day, we've got no one else to swap them out. So this is the exact reason why I've gone for the same team, but it worked. Starting from the back four, obviously Gilchrist played on the right hand side, but I feel like he integrated into the centre back role also. He did so well at marking Heung-min Son, so he can play on the right hand side, but I do feel like him and Chalobah switch from time to time. Chalobah predominantly being a centre back, but he has played on the right sometimes this season, so it will be interesting to see. Badiashile probably played his best kind of game this season, in my opinion. He's been very woeful and he's been very questionable at the same time, and it's fair enough because he's had some very, very poor performances, but he did very well, and I'd like to see that on Sunday also. Cucurella, he gets so much stick, and I feel like it's coming together where we've bought the player that we originally thought that we had at Brighton. He does so well at kind of ground duels. He's so good at being able to kind of get stuck in, stick a foot out, block crosses, and it's definitely the man that I would like at left back. Chilwell's definitely got his work cut out next season if he'd like to get back into the squad. Gallagher and Caicedo, one noted for Gallagher, just sign him up. He's just unbelievable. The amount of runs he was making on Thursday to being able to kind of chase the ball down, he works so much in that middle of the park, and he just does so well to be able to intervene in play. Caicedo, another notable kind of performance also. He did really, really well on Thursday, and he's kind of building up his performances. Had a good game against Aston Villa, had a good game on Thursday against Spurs. So I feel like he's really growing in. Another player that we've brought from Brighton that we originally thought that was really good, that didn't really turn out to be, but he's starting to grow into it. I'm not being funny, it's a complete change in system. He's had so much stick, and I really don't think the transfer fees help these sort of players out. When you know you're coming to a squad for such money, you've got to perform there and then. There's no messing about, and I feel like he's really growing into some sort of role that he's playing in that middle of the park. I feel like he works better with Gallagher, in my opinion. I think him and Enzo, sometimes it just doesn't work. Gallagher mops up a lot of balls compared to where Caicedo can sit back and allow a lot of pressure and kind of getting stuck in at the same time. He's never shy from getting into a tackle. Obviously, we know how many yellow cards he has picked up this season, but he's still a real good defensive point in that midfield for Chelsea. Obviously, we don't have many choices in terms of the midfield in front, so it would be Mudryk, Palmer and Madueke. Mudryk gets a lot of stick, but at the same time, he made a very good few passes on Thursday, to be honest. A lot of direct balls, being able to get in a good position on the left-hand side and to be able to cut the play where he kind of puts the ball direct into the park, where that would have been to Jackson or Cucurella, where he'd be overlapping. I felt like he worked really well, being able to switch the play also. He's got a lot of pace at the end of the day. I know his final touch lets him down. It's that final finish, but give him time. I really feel like it'd be a pivotal role in at that left-hand side. Cole Palmer's been a little bit quiet in the last few games, but we can't notice how good he's been this season. In all honesty, he's been a pivotal part of that side, and he's been so good for us. We rely on him so much, and it was nice to see on Thursday that we didn't rely on him too much. Obviously, he had that free kick that was so close that hit the bar, and Jackson was able to kind of head it in. But yeah, it was nice to be able to see other players score, but at the same time, he still plays a good role within that middle. He's so good on the ball, he's so skillful, he's got so much confidence, and it'd be nice to be able to see him get a goal to be able to trouble Haaland for the golden boot. Noni Madueke on the right hand side, he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I feel like he lacks a lot in some aspects, but he's still growing into the game. He's going to have a lot of potential, and he's still very young. I do question his attitude at some times, but I'm hoping that will change over time with his relationship with Pochettino. I think we saw that on Thursday with the kind of togetherness, with him giving a massive hug at the end of the game. There's obviously a lot to be said that we don't know about, and it's the fact of where he can play on the right hand side. He's still got a lot of pace. He had a few decent chances on Thursday where he cut inside on the left, and he gave it a go at the end of the day. And if he can kind of put that into his game bigger and bigger times, then I really think he'll be a good player for us on that right hand side. Nicholas Jackson up top. Obviously, we've got David Washington on the bench that will probably be, but he's mostly been playing for the youth setup this season, and I feel like Jackson will probably play the full 90. He played really good on Thursday, in honesty. He was very direct. He made a few good bit of plays, being able to kind of take on players and being able to use his skill and use his feet. Obviously, he gets the, he's a big player, and he was kind of the only thing that I thought there was a downfall on the Thursday is where Petrovic would take a goal kick and he just wasn't winning the headers against Mickey van der Ven. So I feel like sometimes his duels against big centre-backs do lack, but I feel like that will come in time. But he's a good striker at the end of the day. I don't know if he is a striker in some aspects. I do feel like he is good on the wing at the same time, because sometimes in front of goal he can be very poor. But at the end of the day, he has more goals than Saka this season that are non-penalty goals. So that kind of speaks for itself. It's his first season in English football, and he will grow into it. He doesn't come with a massive price tag. For £30 million, I feel like he's a really good buy. Yes, he's missed many chances this season, and yes, we could have won many games if he were to have scored them. But at the end of the day, he is doing well for what it is. Pochettino doesn't have another choice for a striker, so it's Jackson or nobody else. We've tried Palmer as a false nine. We've tried Palmer on his own, and it just doesn't work whatsoever. He's not a striker. Jackson is more of a striker, as much as he can play on the wing at the same time. I still feel like we need to give him time. Maybe put someone with him next season. Maybe give him a bit of competition, and that might just put fire in his belly to be able to kind of go on further and score goals. But that is my side for Sunday. I don't think we're going to have any changes. Maybe we might bring on some substitutions early on if we do have any tired legs, but I'd like to think they're all recovered, ready for tomorrow, and hopefully to be able to get 3 points against the Hammers. These are tomorrow's officials for the game. Anyone that's not Anthony Taylor, Michael Oliver, then I'm always pretty happy to be on here. So the actual referee on the left-hand side in the red shirt is Andy Madley, and they have the assistant referees, Harry Leonard in the yellow, and then we've got Nick Hopton in the black. I feel like whatever decisions are being made by officials always are a little bit dodgy. Also, we had a VAR call on Thursday that took a little while. I'm glad it did go away in the end, but they are tomorrow's officials for the game, and let's hope they can give the best chances for us possible. This is my score prediction for tomorrow's match. I reckon Chelsea 1, West Ham 0. I don't think we're going to see a lot of goals, in honesty, and I feel like we're going to have a very slow start. As I mentioned at the start of this particular video, that West Ham are completely just going to sit 10 men behind the ball, and they're going to accept as much pressure if they can, and they will hit us on the counter-attack. As much as our defensive duties were very good on Thursday, we've still seen many lapses in our defence, and they will definitely see that. Obviously, they've got a very good few players in terms of Jared Bowen, Lucas Paqueta, and ones like that. I'm not too sure of their injuries, but I'm pretty sure they've got a fit squad ready and raring to go. But yeah, I reckon 1-0 to Chelsea. I do think that we'll have too much quality. I just think it will be able to get through that wall of defence, and it's being able to kind of pick them moments where you're able to take your chances, and that's where we've suffered against the smaller teams this year, where they've sat men beyond the ball, and we just haven't really been able to break them down as much as possible. But that's always been a weak point of Chelsea, and that's why we've always played good against the better teams, because they come at us more. These sort of teams just sit back and they allow the pressure and they just hit us on the break, and that's where we really struggled this year. But hopefully we'll be able to overcome that this time round, and hopefully we'll have the game plan to be able to sort that out. But yeah, I reckon 1-0 to Chelsea. It'd be nice to be able to get 3 points on the board and put pressure on Newcastle United and Man United, being able to go in the race for that top 6 spot, because it would be really pivotal if we are able to get European football, and I reckon that will be the next step in terms of progression to get Chelsea back on top where they belong. But yeah, I'm hopefully for a good result, as I mentioned. Hopefully you're able to have a review for the game tomorrow also. I'm looking to be able to do one if you are interested and be able to see it. But that will be my preview for Chelsea versus West Ham. I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular video. Please like and subscribe for more content just like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.